You ever wonder what church, the Bible, scripture, what all that stuff is for? We're going to think about that on Now What Devotions from Trinity Lutheran and Cyrus. I'm about to head over to pastor's meeting and talk about the stuff that's going on in town and all the things that we're getting ready for the school year and all that kind of stuff. And I needed to get up and take a walk, so I'm walking over by a park here in Morris. And today we are in the book of Luke. We're in chapter 13, and Jesus is healing somebody, and he's breaking the rules to heal them. So God is breaking God's rules to help somebody, and the people yell at him about it. And the way he responds is really, really illuminating, and so we're going to think about that. So, like, first off, the idea of God breaking God's rules. So, he sees a lady who has been bent over in pain for 18 years. So, she hadn't been able to do the things she's supposed to do. She hadn't been able to participate in her society and culture. And further, people probably judged her, saying, well, this is God's punishment on you for something bad. This was how they understood things in the temple culture of that time. We have lots of records about that. So Jesus steps out, and first off, he notices her. Then he calls her over, and he says, you have suffered all this time, and he releases her. He heals her. And immediately, some of the temple folks go, what are you doing? It is Sabbath. Couldn't you wait a day? Why would you do that? So Jesus responds in the way that those Sabbath rules are argued. So the way many scribes and Pharisees, a real common argument pattern in those days was, if this, then how much more that? In other words, if God says this, well, then how much more should we be doing this? And that is an argument style. So Jesus says, if it is okay to untie your donkey or your animal, to release them, bring them water, to do the things you need to do on the Sabbath because you're caring for them, if that's okay, then how much more this woman who's been tied to this pain for 18 years? He literally uses the same words, tied to the post, tied to the pain, release the animal from the post, release this woman from suffering. And he goes, how much more should we do this for God? And the people are kind of stunned. And they say, yeah, you're right. So he doesn't break God's rules. He breaks their rules. And that's what we need to think about. So the question is, who is this for? That's the question. And that's the thing that Jesus turns around and reminds them of, right? Who are the rules for? Who is the scripture for? Who is all of God's, all that God has led and offered and given to the people of Israel? Like, who was it for? And I think the point that Jesus is making is that God doesn't need any of this that you're doing for God. God doesn't need your obedience to the rules. God doesn't need your perfect life. God doesn't need any of the things that we act like God needs. We make it existential. God doesn't need it. We need it. We are the ones who need rules. We are the ones who God has offered this structure to help us. The church that God gave those people, the temple, all of that, God tabernacled with them to help them. It wasn't for God. And if the things we do for faith, and if the things we do for our neighbor, if God doesn't need that from us, or opposite, the ways we judge others, the people we kick out, the ways we protect the faith and to church and God from the bad people, like, if God doesn't need that, well, then what are we doing, and why are we doing faith? Like, what's the point if not the things we're doing for God that God doesn't need? So if God gave us the Bible and the scriptures because we need them, not because God needs us to read them and tell everybody about them, and if God doesn't need that, then we have to really think seriously about why we do things. And the answer is, Jesus tells us, I came to give life, to bring life and to bring it abundantly. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I came to forgive. I came to serve and to love. Like over and over, I came for you. God is interested in loving and serving us. And God says, go love and serve. Not because God needs us to do it, because we need to be those people. We need to be people who learn what love is. It is crucial to us to know love, to know suffering, to know forgiveness, to know grace, truth, hope, and peace in the midst of a world that doesn't care. It's crucial because our lives depend on it. It's existential. Salvation isn't something that God needs to do. It's something that we need from God. And God says, oh, this is what it looks like. You want to live forever? You want life abundant? You want to be with me? Then at the end of time, when I reach out my hand to you, at the end of your life, when you stand before me, you've got to want to grab my hand. You've got to trust me. You've got to be the person who says, when I give you that option, you say, yeah, I want that. And if you don't, okay, I'm not going to force it. And God is very clear about this. Our salvation is we stand before God alone. And the way that we do that is through Jesus, who shows us who God is. But the idea that God needs that from us is backwards. Jesus frees this woman and the people say, what are you doing, Jesus? And he says, these rules are to help you. And if you're using them to hurt others or to deny them God's love, you have missed the point once again. Anyway, I'm Pastor Chris, thinking about who do we do this for? And of course, the reality is God gives this so that we can get closer to God. So long for now.